Hi, Amy Elizabeth, somatic and intuitive healer here,
And Kate Roberts.
former Navy journalist and communications specialist.
I think I'm just sort of the layperson that helps explain some of the big ideas and words that Amy likes to use and share. Like we all know what she's talking about because we don't. We want to though, so we're gonna ask questions. That's what I'm here to do is ask questions.
I just trust that everybody knows.
Nope. I'm here to bring clarity. So
And we all appreciate you've been getting a
Yes.
lot of good feedback for your presence.
Great.
So thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
So we are right now in what I call the Eclipse Peduncle.
And tell me what a peduncle is.
The peduncle is the skinny tight part of a funnel.
Okay.
So some people call it a portal.
Okay.
It could also be compared to like a birthing canal.
Okay.
We are in this really tight squeeze. We had the solar eclipse happen in Scorpio back on the 14th, which was a week ago today. So we're halfway through this peduncle.
Okay.
This particular peduncle is only 2 weeks long.
I feel like she's squeezing though.
She really
It's
is.
a real tight one. So
she's bearing down.
Mhm.
There's a lot of squeeze right
Mhm.
now. And there's a lot of squeeze right now because this is a south node eclipse.
Okay.
And it's this really deeply stepping into what the next about 15 months is going to be, because the nodes are going to shift again in August 2025.
All right, and let's just clarify our friends South Node and North Node, maybe if we need to
Yes.
mention that for today. So-
We're gonna really focus on the south node
Okay.
today.
and what's she all about? What's her deal?
So the south node is not a body.
Okay.
Like the moon is a body.
Mhm.
The south node is a crossing of ellipticals.
Okay.
And so it is a point on the moon's elliptical.
Okay.
Just like dark moon Lilith, which we did a video about several ago,
Mhm.
is the moon's apogee,
Mhm.
which is the furthest point a body can get.
Mhm.
In this case, we're talking about the moon from the earth. Most apogees are in reference to like Mars and the sun.
Okay.
So when, say, we're talking about Mars and the sun, that's going to be seen as an opposition on a chart.
Mhm.
When we're talking about the earth and the moon,
Mhm.
we're going to see that as a point in the sky that we call Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith is the point of the moon's elliptical because the moon represents our emotional connections
Okay.
and our sense of security.
Okay.
And Black Moon Lilith holds our like deepest, most carnal longings.
Okay.
Whether that's a deep emotional longing, a deep like carnal longing, how our carnal physical longing plugs into our emotional longing,
Okay.
and how they're really intertwined when things are healthy. And so the south node is this point
Mhm.
that represents our past.
Okay.
I will oftentimes talk about it as the fate point
Mhm.
because the nodes are spoken about as like the nodes of destiny
Mhm.
or the nodes of fate. They're big deals.
Yeah.
Because in Hindu mythology, they were the head and the tail of the dragon.
Okay.
And the south node is the tail. And when you think about the tail, it's stuff that is letting go.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
That does happen near the tail. Yes.
It's stuff that is releasing and shedding.
Okay.
The south node is also associated with our past. So our past in this body and this life,
Mhm.
our past lives. It is associated with our ancestry. It is plugged into the gifts that we show up with in this life, our natural gifts, our
Mhm.
natural talents. It's also hugely associated with our core wounds.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons it is called a node of fate,
Mhm.
is because our fate is often dictated by our wounding.
Okay.
Our fate is the thing that will happen if we never take a chance on anything.
Okay. It's just gonna happen. No matter
It's
what
going to
you do,
happen
it's
no
gonna
matter
happen.
what. It is comfortable. It is accessible. It is easy. It is known.
Okay.
So if you've lived someplace your whole life and you have a deep desire to live someplace else, or you feel you have a call to live someplace else, and you never follow that call, you never make the leap, you never make the move, you never go after the thing, that's fate.
Okay.
Going after the thing, doing the thing that's scary, moving towards the unknown,
That's destiny.
that's destiny.
Cool.
And that's the North Node. And we're going to talk about that next week when we have our full moon.
Cool. We'll use our visual aids too.
Oh, we're going to use some, we've got some visual aids. You're right. We do
Yeah.
have visual aids from retreats.
Yeah. We'll give you a better picture of South Node and North Node. And
So the South Node is the tail of the dragon. It's what we're being asked to release. It's also old habits. It's tradition. And it's not that tradition is bad. It's a questioning and a looking at of, well, why do we have this tradition?
Right.
It's the ham.
Yes.
It's the ham.
Tell them the story. They don't know.
Tell them the ham story. Yeah. So a young woman is hosting a holiday meal for her family, and her mom is there in the kitchen. They're prepping the ham. And the first thing she does when she's getting the ham ready is she cuts off the two ends. She then places the ham in her ham pan, and then she puts the two ends in there. And as she's looking at it, she realizes that she didn't, like, this ham had plenty of space to fit in her pan. And she says to her mom, why do we cut off the ends of the ham? Like, does it cook better? Does it taste better? Is there something with the ends of the ham that can't? And her mom says, well, I don't know. Let me call grandma and ask. So mom gets on the phone with grandma, and grandma laughs and says, oh, well, we cut off the ends of the ham because it never fit in my pan as a whole. So I had to cut off the ends to make it fit. And so these family patternings, these traditions that we carry on with zero understanding, that's the South Node.
So it's an opportunity to kind of let go of things that no longer serve you.
Yeah, it's a releasing point. The South Node is a releasing. It's the tail of the dragon. It releases stuff. It lets things go. And our South Node also, I spoke a little bit about the core wound. That's the thing we fear most. And we were talking earlier today that really under all of the, I have a separation wound, I have an abandonment wound, I have a this wound, I have a that wound. Under all of that is the fear of our own empowerment.
For sure.
We are so scared to be fully responsible for our choices. And we are so scared to recognize that life is happening for us, not to us. It's much easier to be a victim. It's much, much easier to be a victim. It is that is a easy path. It is an easy path to say, well, I feel like I'm not getting what I need because you're taking it away. Rather than I'm going to be responsible for myself, and I'm going to allow you to be responsible for yourself. And we can come to each other and we can say, this is something I want. Can you meet me there? But we have no right to be like, you can't have that thing because it scares me. Oh, no. That's not empowerment. That's not empowerment of self, and it's not empowerment of others. So the working with the South Node and working with our core wound is about peeling back the layers that keep us from our own empowerment. So this peduncle feels tight. It feels like we're only halfway through. What? And we've had a pretty big, say, midweek, because it kind of the aspects we're really looking at started on the 18th up until now. It's been big, and it's been a lot of pieces directly interacting with the South Node and bringing consciousness to it. And that's really where we're going to start. And drop your questions, your comments, dedications, requests in the comments. Share us with your friends. And on October 18th, in the sign of Libra, which is the sign of seeking balance, the sun, which we're looking at in this context as representing consciousness, it brought consciousness. It conjuncted the South Node. So it brought consciousness to
So now we're aware of the things. Yeah.
Yes. We are now aware of the, here is where I'm messy. Here is where I have old messaging that says, don't do this for X, Y, and Z. And I'm simultaneously seeing that doing this that I've been told to not do is actually my path towards destiny. It's my path towards this thing that I have such a soul calling for. And I don't know how to get there because it's an unknown. The North Node is an unknown. The South Node is what is comfortable and known. So we have this consciousness, the sun shone a light on those things,
right,
on the 18th. And then the next day, this is a fun piece. The sun conjuncted Persephone,
okay,
and Mercury conjuncted the South Node. So really, they formed this quadruple conjunction because the sun and Persephone were at 25 degrees of Libra, and the South Node and Mercury were at 24 degrees of Libra. So for those of you that were born in like spring of 1977, you're in your what's called a nodal reversal, which means the collective South Node is on your North Node.
Do the math on that. Okay.
And so the collective is showing us all of the traditions,
right?
All of the deeply rooted stuff, all of our own wounding.
It's sort of like a clash between your fate and your destiny are kind of
your destiny
on top of each other.
Is being pushed at by the collective's fate.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And how your destiny, your calling forth is potentially being suppressed by what the collective is scared of.
Okay.
It's sticky. It's this opposition conjunction is sticky. In like spring, say, I haven't looked at the exact dates, but end of March, early April. So anybody with an Aries sun in 77 has likely around a 24 degree South Node.
Okay.
It's speaking from experience.
Yeah.
So the sun and Persephone are at 25 degrees. Mercury and the South Node are at 24. Mercury is communication.
Okay.
Mercury's also a trickster.
Yeah.
Mercury's gonna push at things and push our edges. It wants us to be like, I got you. Mercury is also about transportation. Mercury is about technology.
Okay.
And most importantly, we're looking at this from an individual human space. So we're looking at what messaging are you receiving about your past world, about traditions, about my always favorite is, well, these are the people I come from and this is how we do it.
Says a lot of people, says a lot of workplaces.
A lot of workplaces, a lot of people. This is the way how we've always done it, and this is the way we're going to continue to do it because this is what has worked in the past.
Right. Cutting those ends off the ham. Yes.
And so Mercury is coming in and saying, hey, what messages are here? With the sun and Persephone conjunct each other, Persephone is in her position at this point since the 23rd of September as queen of the underworld.
Is she comfortable there?
Oh, she is rocking that shit.
She rocks it. Okay.
She's rocking that shit. And part of the reason she's rocking it is because she has released the idea that she needs to people please.
Right. And that's about her journey.
That is the arc of her journey, because when she's in her spring maiden, her shadow is people pleasing. Yeah. Her shadow, even when she starts her underworld journey to step into her power as queen of the underworld, she still wants to people please. She's still scared to go back to mommy and be like, I love you. And for you to love me all the way, this is a part of me. It's Persephone is so about our belonging And we cannot belong if we're people pleasing.
Right.
Those two things, they can't happen together.
Okay.
So the sun, right, it shines a light, it brings consciousness to all of the ways that we people please.
Okay.
It brings a light to all of the ways that we tell little white lies, or we make other people's decisions, or we don't communicate. Any time that we don't say to somebody, I'm going to go do this thing. Would you like to come with me? And instead, it's classic. I don't know a person who doesn't do it, including myself. We talk about wanting to do this thing, but we're not going to invite this person because, well, they've got this, and this, and this in their lives. So we are going to disempower them by not even asking the question. So that's the Sun Persephone piece, is how do we change our relationship to little white lies, to people pleasing, and Mercury, right? How do we communicate? Where are we people pleasing in the interest of thinking we're saving somebody from themselves?
Right.
And it is not our
job.
job to save anybody from themselves. Nope. Then October 20th, early in the morning, they peaked at 12:38 a.m. Central Time. So adjust for your time zone, because this could have happened for some folks on the 19th. But it was middle of the night. So if you dream journal, and people who work with me know I'm a big journal your dreams, journal your dreams, journal your dreams. Mercury and the Sun went kazemi.
What does that mean? It sounds very exciting.
It sounds very sexy, doesn't
it?
Kazemi
with a Z in it. It's gonna be very exciting.
Kazemi is where a planet, and in this case, Mercury, enters what we call the heart of the sun.
Okay.
So prior to this moment, when we look at Mercury and the Sun and Persephone in the South Node, and even the Sun in the South Node, Mercury was in a position in relation to the Sun called combust.
Okay. And what is that?
So I'm doing combust before I do kazemi, because combust happens before kazemi. For those of us who like movies where things explode, and you get that moment in the movie where there's an explosion, and they do such a good job of showing what the turbulence of that explosion is. That's combust.
Oh, it's very fun. Okay.
It's turbulent. You can't see shit. Right?
Okay.
When you imagine being in that fire, smoke, debris, you can't see anything.
Okay.
So Mercury is traveling through this combust space. So all of those the messaging that was potentially coming in was rocky. It was turbulent. It wasn't clear.
Okay. So there's a lot of interference.
Yes.
In combust. Okay.
There's interference in combust. And then on the morning of the 20th at 12:38 a.m. Central Time,
where kazemi happened.
Yes, Mercury entered the heart of the sun. He moved past all of the turbulence and into this point of clarity.
Oh,
because kazemi is a body being in the heart of the sun.
Okay, so it's like the eye of the storm. Even.
Yes,
okay.
It is the eye of the storm. It is the heart of the sun, and so the messages were crystalline.
Okay,
they were precise. They were accessible. And of course, I say precise and accessible, understanding that for those that have been working with me and those that are really working with me, you all understand that we've been doing the work to get to that crystalline space. For those that are starting their journey, it may be like, I had this really weird dream.
Sure.
And we were trying to cook, and the dog, the weird dreams in which our consciousness offers us glimpses of our unconscious, because everything in your dream is just us. Everything in my dreams is me trying to talk to me. That weird person that I don't know.
It's you.
That is a weird part of me that I don't know. The slimy apartment building that I live in, that is a weird part of me that I'm not ready to look at yet. So there was this moment then on the 20th in the morning where the Sun and Mercury came together and things were crystalline. They were accessible. They were beautiful.
Mhm.
It was magical. And then Mercury squared off with Pluto later in the day.
Okay. And what happens then when they're in a square?
So a square is a conflictual aspect.
I can't believe that they go from clarity to conflict that fast.
Well,
And-
Mercury's a
wow.
speedy guy.
Okay.
He's the messenger. He's got wings on his feet.
Okay.
He is ticking along.
Okay.
And a square is a conflictual aspect because we as humans can't see around a 90-degree corner,
Mhm.
right? This is a square. It's a 90-degree corner.
Right.
And we can't see around a 90-degree corner, and we want to because we have control issues.
Right.
Because we've been enculturated that change is scary.
Well, you like to prepare. I like a little warning, right? I think everybody wants a little warning. Prepare.
But we've been enculturated for that.
Mhm.
Because if you look at human history, we lived so closely with the earth that we understood that life is change.
It is, but we understood the warnings in those change, right? The leaves start to fall. Well, I think the leaves start to fall. You prepare for winter, right? You see the buds coming in the spring. You understand what you need to do for
Mhm.
that, moving to chase the herds and all the stuff.
Mhm.
So we love warning. I like a good warning. I get change, and change is constant, but I like a good warning. I like to prepare.
You like to prepare.
Yes. Mhm.
And part of our enculturation into toxic patriarchal culture
Mhm.
was being told that change is scary.
It is
Because-
prepare. It's just fine.
Change is nature, change is life,
Yes.
change is the feminine
Mhm.
nature.
Mhm.
When you think about women moving through their menstrual cycles, we change day to day, minute to minute.
We do. And again, right? Prepare, ladies. I like to be prepared for that. Then change is tolerable. Preparation.
It's all about
I'm a fan.
preparation.
Yeah.
So that fear of change is one of the things that makes a square
Mhm.
so scary.
Okay.
Because we can't see around the corner. And it's one of the things that makes it feel conflictual.
Okay.
Pluto stationed retrograde right before the eclipse. I'm sorry, he's stationed direct from his retrograde right before the eclipse. And he is drilling down at 27 degrees of Capricorn.
Okay.
We're on one of our final pieces of really looking at and dealing with, and we talked about this the last video. Who has authority? Who's the boss of you?
Right.
Who is the boss of you?
Me.
And so Mercury squaring Capricorn says, well, there's conflictual messages.
Yeah.
There's conflicting messages about who can be the boss of you. Like if we look at this in the bigger world,
Mhm.
we see here in the United States, all of these Republicans who voted against Jordan suddenly being victims of the thing that they have perpetuated and remained silent on since Trump decided to run the first time.
Sure.
Which is, it is okay for us to threaten violence against you if you are not recognizing our authority over this country. No, violence is not the way, kids.
It shouldn't be.
So, and Pluto's a god of war.
Yes.
So the god of war is in Capricorn, which is why we have warring authorities.
Okay.
We have a war of who is the boss of me right
Yes,
now.
we do.
It's why we have companies demanding private information from their employees, saying that, well, this is part of your job now to offer us your private life. And if you don't do this, you're going to consistently feel this threat to your job because we're the authority over you and we have a right to your privacy.
Sure.
So that Mercury square Libra, it's this information, like Mercury's in Libra, Mercury's seeking balance, Mercury is zipping out of Libra super fast.
Yeah.
Pluto's in Capricorn, top-down authority. We're working on really finalizing the cycle that we've been in since 2008, which has been, who's the boss of you?
It's a daily struggle.
It's a daily
right?
struggle.
Yeah.
The 21st, which is today, the sun in Libra is going to square up with Pluto.
Okay.
So consciousness is going to show up to the conflict we have around who's the boss of us.
Okay.
So we're going to be able to consciously see where we're handing away our power over our lives. Where are we involved in parasitic relationships? Where are we, by the way, Persephone is still right here. She's 2 degrees away from this orb.
Okay.
In this square. So she is going to be squaring off. She's already in an orbital square with Pluto.
An orbital square.
Yes.
Do we need to unpack that? An
So,
orbital square?
Oftentimes when we talk about these, I'm looking at the exactitude.
Okay.
Which means the sun is 27 degrees and Pluto is 27 degrees in this case. Persephone is at 25.
Okay.
So she's
They're
25,
right there.
26, 27. Yeah. She's 3 degrees away. She is cuddling up and involved in this just as much as the sun and Pluto.
Okay. Do they play well together?
Well, Pluto and Persephone are lovers.
Oh, well, that sounds cozy.
They are one of our sets of divine consorts.
Okay.
And
so does that mean things are going to mellow out a little bit?
Well,
or get worse? Is it a rocky relationship?
It's a square.
How?
They have a beautiful relationship, in part because Pluto is willing to stand back and be in the highest version of masculine, which is I'm going to hold this space and I'm going to consistently whisper to you, and there's more. Like there is more to you. And I want to call out that more to you. I want you to be in such a deep state of your feminine power that you are doing what you need to do.
Okay.
And it's why Persephone is more powerful in the underworld than Pluto is.
Okay. And she likes that space. She's held. And when she's
held
and
and
party,
she's met.
She's able to do her thing because he's
he's creating the space. When we talk about, like, say, Shiva as part of the divine a divine union, Shiva's a holder of space.
Okay.
We can also look at this as the masculine is the atmosphere and the feminine is the weather.
Okay.
With no atmosphere, we have no weather.
Right.
Without a container created, there is no weather. So it's why our inner union is so important. And the sun bringing consciousness along with Persephone's people pleasing.
Yeah.
And you can't find your more, you can't find your all, you can't find your belonging, you can't find your personal authority if you're people pleasing.
Okay.
Here's that conflict, right?
Yeah.
Venus that same day, today, moves into Venus in Virgo, is in an opening trine with retrograde Jupiter.
Okay.
So there's this Earth trine. Venus in Virgo is in her detriment. She is at her worst.
Okay.
In Virgo.
She's not happy. She's in a tough place.
She is a hot mess. She is critical. She's controlling. She's manipulative. Cat, don't chew on the palm tree. She is in her worst. Okay. Because she's in her detriment.
And Jupiter makes that.
And Jupiter
makes it bigger, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm learning. Jupiter makes it bigger.
Okay.
And they're in a trine. So Jupiter is potentially in support of relationship critical Venus right now.
Okay.
Yeah, not good.
No, it's not good.
Jupiter is also retrograde. So there is this reviewing, like, how am I hypercritical in relationship? And Virgo and Taurus are both earth signs. So this is a really practical boots on the ground thing. Where am I critical in my relationship? Where am I critical in my workplace? And it's not that critical is necessarily bad. It allows us to develop our discernment. Like, is this for my soul? Is this feeding me?
Right.
Or am I soul starved as a result of this? Jupiter also reminds us that too much of anything is still too much.
Right.
Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's still too much. Yeah. So they're doing that also. They just closed a whole series of squares back on September 17th.
Okay.
So they just went through a whole series of conflictual pieces. And now they're in this trine, which is bringing a little more harmony. This is the two benefics coming together. And Venus in her light is about our self-esteem. It's about how we love ourselves.
Okay.
So when we pair this with the South Node, when we pair it up with belonging, when we pair it up with who is the boss of you,
Mm-hmm.
there is this opportunity to recognize where we're self-critical.
Okay.
Where we're self-critical and where we're critical in ways that disempower us. And by disempowering ourselves, we disempower everyone else.
Okay.
Because there's only two motivations to the psyche, the empowerment or disempowerment of self and other.
Okay.
Self and other.
Mm-hmm.
What is soul aligned for one is soul aligned for everyone.
Okay.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's uncomfortable to be like, well, I'm bringing all of me because bringing all of me is what is soul aligned.
Right.
And I see your discomfort and I'm willing to meet you as we discover that all of me can belong here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you meet me?
Right.
Or is it going to be more soul aligned for me to say, I see that you can't get there.
Mm-hmm.
And the most loving thing I can do is give you space.
Yeah.
And it's that piece. It's really our self-esteem, and it's an expansion of how we live in a boots in the ground way of our self-love. We can only receive
Mm-hmm.
to the extent in which we love ourselves. We
Yeah.
really need to love yourself
Mm-hmm.
to receive.
Cool.
On the 22nd,
Mm-hmm.
our friend Mercury zips into Scorpio. Now, Mercury in Scorpio is about the deep, hidden, secret truth.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that. Okay. Do these two play well together? As
Mercury and Scorpio? How many people in your real life do you know that are really comfortable with radical raw truth?
Oh, not many.
So
People don't like that.
So
if they're prepared for it, though, then maybe.
warning.
Yeah.
So Scorpio is the depths of the depths of the depths.
Okay.
It is also unrelenting change.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it is change that moves at the speed of a glacier.
That's lots of time to prepare. I'm good with that. All right, we can work with that. Okay.
So Mercury is speedy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does glacier and
Mercury's got shit to do.
Okay.
He's got places to go.
Well, he's not gonna be there very long.
He's got people to talk to. He's and so he is going to be in there
Mhm.
dredging up
Okay.
the things we don't want to hear
For 5 minutes.
and reminding us that we need to step out of the binary.
Yes.
Reminding us that we need to step out of duality.
Mhm.
That that there's no good guys and there's no bad guys.
Yes. The world of gray.
Yes. That we've got all of this space in between.
Mhm.
Yes, the wage gap is real. Yes, the orgasm gap is real. And there's all this gray.
Yeah.
There's all of this gray space in so many spaces where there's not good guys and bad guys.
Right.
And so Mercury is going to be there dredging up during this eclipse peduncle, this deep truth that there's no good guys and there's no bad guys.
Okay.
There is only how do we find our souls
Mhm.
and how do we stand in integrity
Mhm.
with that.
Okay.
And when he enters Scorpio, he is going to be trine our friend Saturn over in Pisces, who is
Okay.
retrograde.
All right.
And they're both going to be at 0 degrees for this.
Okay.
So Saturn is restrictions and rules.
Okay.
And Saturn's also a builder.
Okay. There's a lot happening here.
Well, Saturn's a carpenter, right?
Okay. Mhm.
He's not a designer.
Mhm.
He's a carpenter,
Mhm.
which means he is going to build us whatever we ask him to build.
Okay.
So if we ask him to build us a little box to live in, if we ask for a little
Mhm.
container,
Mhm.
I just want to be in this size container.
He'll build it.
He'll build it.
Okay.
And we can stay in this size container
Sure.
until we just can't anymore.
Mhm.
So there's all of this messaging then, because this is a supportive aspect
Mhm.
around the ways in which we long for freedom.
Okay.
Because Pisces is boundless.
Okay. Ooh, boundless in a container. That's never a good plan.
That's why Saturn's so uncomfortable.
Okay.
So, and Saturn's retrograde, he's asking us to review.
Okay.
Where do you
Mhm.
put yourself in a container?
Yeah.
And say, well, this is all the bigger I'm allowed to get.
Sure.
because my people pleasing, we're back to Persephone because she's right there.
Sure. And people do
My
that
people
lots of ways.
pleasing, my need to outsource my authority,
Mhm.
and really we're boundless.
Mhm.
We don't live in a Christian universe. We live in a sacred universe,
Mhm.
and the sacred is boundless.
Yeah.
So Mercury in Scorpio, trine our good friend Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, who's retrograde.
Okay.
So a reviewing of this piece, and then the Sun also enters Scorpio. He does it on the 23rd. So Mercury gets there on the 22nd because he is sprinting
Right.
away. He's got a little loose leash. So he's sprinting away from the sun momentarily
Mhm.
before he goes into retrograde and is like reeled back in.
Okay.
So the Sun enters Scorpio on the 23rd, which means happy Scorpio season.
Yay.
Happy birthday, all our Scorpio
Thank
suns
you.
out there.
Yeah.
Which means the Sun is then going to also be trine Saturn.
So you got consciousness on the depths, and then you got Saturn that's
like, don't be restricted by things outside of yourself.
Okay.
And here are all of the ways you're restricting yourself.
Okay.
And all of this is happening in this eclipse peduncle where we're feeling squeezed. So when the messages are clear and the messages are obvious, it's really easy for us to be like, I got to shed that.
Yeah.
That doesn't serve me. And it doesn't serve the people I love. And it doesn't serve this one wild life that I get to live, which is so, so short. We have such a small time to be here in our current meat suits.
Right.
That like go after, chase down the things that light up your soul.
For sure.
So this eclipse peduncle is going to go through the 28th, and we'll be coming back to talk to you all about the things that are going on with the Taurus lunar eclipse.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, so share us with your friends. Subscribe to catch us when we go live.
Sure.
Leave your comments, your questions. If you have something you want to hear about, let us know. Right now, just a lot of water. I know everybody is tired. I keep talking to everybody and they're like, I'm so tired. Get some naps, get some water, eat some good. If you're, up here in the North lands, some good roasted vegetables. It is definitely roasted vegetable season.
Yeah.
And we're just sending you a lot of fierce love.
Thank you.